Hello everyone, welcome to Bhadra IAS Academy. So let's continue our quiz series. Today we are in part 5. We'll be taking up questions from 41 to 50. So before we start with the questions, just for an information, those of you who are preparing for APPSC, UPSC or any state level exams, you are planning to appear for SSC, banking, ADRE, etc. For any study material or any help or any resources, you can contact Bhadra IAS Academy at 8638391721. Okay, so now let us start with the question. That is, we are continuing from the earlier one. So the first question, number 41. With reference to coral reefs, consider the following statements. Coral reefs are formed by colonies of tiny marine organisms called coral polyps. Coral reefs thrive best in warm, shallow, clear tropical waters. Coral reefs are found only in the Pacific Ocean, right? So which of the following statements are correct? So what do you think is the correct answer? So we have option 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 1 and 3, yeah, all of them, 1, 2 and 3, right? So the correct answer, if you look at here, because we have a little difficulty here, the problem is with the third option, coral reefs are found only in the Pacific Ocean. So that is where little difficulty. So the correct answer would be only 1 and 2. That means coral reefs are formed by colonies of tiny marine organisms called coral polyps, and they best thrive in warm and shallow and clear tropical waters. So the correct answer would be therefore option A, that is 1 and 2 only. Okay. Question number 42, this is regard to Indian currency management system. The highest denomination of currency note ever printed by the RBI was 10,000 note, that also in 1938. These 10,000 notes were then demonetized in 1946 and they were again introduced in 1954, then again demonetized in 1978. So which of the following options are correct? So you have 1 and 2, 1 and 4, only 3, yeah, all of the above. That means all the statements are correct. So what do you think is the right answer? So if you look at here, the correct answer is D. All the statements are correct. Why? Because the RBI printed highest note of 10,000 in 38, then it was demonetized in 46. Then again introduced in 1954, but once again demonetized. Okay, so this kind of basic questions can be asked in different types of exams, competitive exams, even for SSC banking level exams. Just you have to be familiar with these facts. Okay, question number 43. This is with regard to an institution called Niti Aayog. So which of the following, who is the newly appointed vice chairman of Niti Aayog? Okay, so we have option P. Iyer, Amitabh Kant, Ashok Lahiri, Ramesh Chand. So which of these are the newly appointed Niti Aayog vice chairman, right? So what will be the correct answer, right? So if you look at the correct answer here, the correct answer would be Ashok Lahiri, because it was a very big news. Recently he was appointed as the vice chairman. So economist Dr. Ashok Kumar Lahiri is the new vice chairman of Niti. He took charge on May 8, 2026. Clear? Earlier Mr. Suman Berry was the vice chairman of Niti. Okay. So now Niti Aayog related questions are very common nowadays in most of the exams. So you can expect this kind of question also can be asked in your exams. Question number 44. In the context of economic census, in the context of economic census, which of the following statements are correct? It was launched in 1976 as a plan scheme for economic census and surveys. It has been conducted by the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. 7th economic census was conducted in 2019-20, but it was not finalized because some states did not participate, some states were not ready. So was it finalized or not finalized? Now the thing is, 8th economic census is scheduled for 2027. So what do you think will be the correct option? So we have only 1 and 2, 1 and 3, 1, 2 and 4, yeah, all of the above. So if you look at the correct answer, the correct answer is D, that is all of the above. All the statements are correct. So you need to know these things about the economic survey, right? And the related to that is the economic census survey, because there are two different things. I don't want you to be confused. Economic survey normally published by the finance ministry along with the budget. We are talking about economic census survey, so don't be confused. Okay, now it has been conducted by the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, correct? 7th economic census was conducted in 1920, but it was not finalized, right? Because some states were not ready to do that. And the 8th economic census now they have scheduled for next year, 2027. Now some important point to remember here, if you see here, the first economic census was 1977. I have given here detail. Second is 1980, third is 1990, fourth one is 1998, and the fifth is 2005. Sixth is 2013, seventh could not be finalized because some states were not ready to cooperate. Okay, so economic census is going to be conducted in the next year. So this will be another topic that can be asked in your exams. Okay, question number 45. Which of the following are correct regarding most favored nation clause? This is related to international institution called WTO. So the MFN means treating one's trading partners equally without discrimination. It means treating only one country favorably. So that is the very big question mark. India granted this MFN status to Pakistan in 96. In 2019, after the Pulwama attack, India removed the MFN status from Pakistan. So which of the statements are correct? So we have option 1 and 3, 2 and 3, 1, 3 and 4, yeah, 2, 3 and 4. So which of the following statements are correct? So if you look at the correct answer, what is the correct answer? The MFN means treating one's partners equally, that is correct, right? It means treating only one country favorably, no. That is where the problem. Therefore, the correct answer, what do you think is the correct answer? The correct answer is C. So 2 cannot be, because we have to treat all the WTO member countries equally. That is the basic idea of MFN. So India granted MFN to Pakistan, but Pakistan did not grant it to India. But after the Pulwama attack, India removed the MFN status which India had given to Pakistan. So ऐसा वाला जो क्वेश्चन है ये एग्जाम पर्सपेक्टिव में बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट हो सकते हैं, राइट? क्वेश्चन नंबर 46. With reference to tropical cyclones, consider the following statements. They originate over warm tropical oceans. They derive their energy from the latent heat released during condensation. They can produce storm surges along coastal areas. So which of the statements are correct with regard to tropical cyclone? So options are only 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 1, 2 and 3. So the correct answer would be option D, right? They originate over the warm tropical ocean. They derive their energy from the latent heat released actually, and also they can produce the storm surging along the coastal area. So all the statements are correct. This is like a basic concept in geography. You need to be familiar with what is the idea of tropical cyclone. Question number 47. This is from the science and tech perspective. So the question is, in the context of antigens, which statements are correct? They are substances that are capable of stimulating immune response. They can be produced only, now that is very important, they can only be produced inside the human body. Antibodies are produced by immune system to target the antigens. So which of the statements are correct, right? So looks like little tricky, but it is easier once we try to get the correct judgment. So the option is 1 and 2, yeah 1 and 3, 3 only, yeah 1, 2 and 3. So if you look at the correct answer is B, only 1 and 3, because they can be only produced inside the human body. You know, that is where the problem is. They can be produced only inside the human body? No. So if you see, antigens can be produced inside and outside human body. So therefore option 2 is not correct. Therefore option 1 and option 3 are the correct options when we talk about antigens. Clear? Question number 48, also related to science and tech. Akash is an air-to-surface missile with a range of 25 km, developed by DRDO. It is India's first indigenously designed missile system. So what do you think? What is the correct answer? Right? So option only 1, only 2, yeah both 1 and 2, yeah neither 1 nor 2. So the correct answer, therefore, if you see option C, both 1 and 2 is the correct answer. Why? Because Akash is an air-to-surface missile with a range of 25 kilometers, right? So if you see, its range is up to 25 kilometer, developed by DRDO, and it is made in India, indigenous technology, right? So both options are correct, 1 and 2. Okay, now these kind of questions are very important when you are talking about geopolitical tension, military tension, etc. Exam, you might get these kind of questions as well. Question number 49, this is from say history. Okay, so the Quit India movement was launched by the Indian National Congress in August 1942 after the failure of Cripps mission. The famous slogan "Do or Die" was given by Mahatma Gandhi. The Quit India resolution was adopted at the Gwalior Tank Maidan, right? The British government allowed the top Congress to organize the movement in a peaceful way. So what do you think is the correct option? 1, 2 and 3, 2, 3 and 4, 1 and 4, yeah 1, 2, 3 and 4. So this kind of historical questions can be very common in many exams. Okay, all types of exam, this can be common question. So if you look at the correct answer, right? So what is the correct answer? The correct answer is 1, 2 and 3. Why? The British government allowed the top Congress leaders to organize the movement peacefully. This statement is wrong, but the other statements all are correct. Okay. So history questions are very common in many exams, competitive exams. So the explanations are given here, statement 1, 2, 3, 4. You can also go through these statements for your detailed reading and understanding of the question. Question number 50, also regard to history. This is about the Sepoy Mutiny, that is the revolt of 1857. The immediate trigger for the revolt 1857 was the very common, this is known to most of you, that is the rifle cartridges believed to be greased with cow and pig fat. Mangal Pandey, a soldier of the 34th Bengal Native Infantry, is remembered as one of the early figures with the revolt. The revolt led to abolition of the East India Company's rule, and the governance of India was transferred directly to the British Crown through the Government of India Act 1858, right? So which of these statements do you think are the correct statements? So if you look at the options, we have option 1, 2 and 3, 2 and 3, 1 and 4, yeah 1, 2, 3 and 4. So the correct option answer would be 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4, because all these statements are correct from exam point of view. Okay, so you have to be familiar with history, because as I said, history questions are very common in almost all the competitive exam. Some or the other factual questions can be asked from history perspective as well. Here you will find explanation for each of the statement as well, right? So all the explanations are also given here, so that you can pause the video, you can read it, or you can download the PDF and then you can go through these explanations as well. These are precisely made for you to understand the questions easily. Okay, so go through these MCQs. So far we have completed 50 questions in the last 5 videos. Okay, if you are looking for any MCQ collection or test series or any MCQ preparation, you can, for any query, you can contact Bhadra IAS Academy at 8638391721. Okay, so till then you keep watching these quiz videos which will help you for your exam preparation. Thank you.